I am Anil Kumar. I am sharing with you a question from our WhatsApp group, Free Math Solutions. Let me thank all the members of this group for participating actively. We are getting excellent questions and many participants are jumping in to provide brilliant solutions. Here is an excellent example on application of tangents to circles. I will discuss this at length in this particular video, and I hope its solution will help many others. So the question here is that in the diagram which is shown here, RT is parallel to SP. So this is RT which is parallel to SP. SQ is equal to SP. SQ is equal to SP. TP is a tangent, so that is a tangent line, and angle PSR equals to X. So PSR, that means this angle here, is equal to X, right? So let me write X here. Now, find the angle PSQ. So PSQ is this angle which we need to find. So that is the first thing which we have to do. And also we need to find the angle QTP. The other angle which we need to find is QTP. So these are the two angles which we need to find. Okay. So let's begin from here. We have a tangent and a chord, right? So does that remind you anything? So if you have a tangent and a chord, then that means you can use alternate segment theorem, right? So we'll use alternate segment theorem to relate the angles. So when a tangent and a chord angle, so alternate segment really means that you have to look at the segment which is alternate. So that is the chord, and if you look at this angle is equal to that angle. So the angle of our interest. So these two angles are equal, right? So let me call this angle as Y for the time being. We need to find what Y is in terms of X. Now we are given that these two are equal lengths. That means this triangle QPS is an isosceles triangle, right? So if it is isosceles triangle, then what should be these angles? Well, both of them will be equal. And what should they be equal to? 180 minus y divided by 2, right? So they should be 180 minus y divided by 2, right? So that should be the measurement of these angles. Perfect. Now we are also given that RQ is parallel to SP, right? So, and that becomes a transverse line. So that means we can correlate this with that angle, right? So that means that this angle here is an alternate angle, right? So this angle should be equal to that angle. So both are Y. And reason for this is they are alternate angles, right? So alternate angles. So these are those y's which we have shown here. So these are alternate angles which are equal. Okay. Now, we know we have a cyclic quadrilateral here. So we can say that PQRS is a cyclic So that really means that the sum of opposite angles should be 180 degrees, right? So that means x plus y plus 180 minus y by 2 should be equal to 180 degrees, right? So from here we get the condition that x plus y plus this angle, which is 180 minus y by 2, should be equal to 180 degrees. So that relates y with x. Clear? Right? So that relates y with x. Let's just multiply everything by 2 to get rid of this 2 in the denominator. So we get this as 2x plus 2y plus 180 minus y equals to 360 degrees. Right. So now taking 2x and 180 to the right side, 2y minus y is just y. That is equal to 360 degrees minus 180 degrees minus 2x. Or we get y equals to 180 degrees minus 2x. So that is the angle we are talking about, which is the angle PSQ, right? So we get one result, which is, we can say that the angle PSQ is basically equal to y, which is equal to 180 degree minus 2x. Okay, so we got one angle, which is this. So let's highlight this. Okay. Now let's focus on finding this angle T. Now that becomes, now this is, we can do like this. If you look into this particular triangle, in this particular triangle, that is an exterior angle, right? So angle PQR, angle PQR is equal to sum of these two angles. So angle T plus y, correct? Since this is an exterior angle, right? So exterior angle equals to sum of remote interior angles. Clear? Correct. Now PQR is sum of y and 180 minus y by 2, right? So we can add this up and relate with t and y, and then we can write this as 180. We can use this formula, right? So from here, PQR can be written as y plus 180 minus y by 2, which is equal to angle T plus y. Solving this, we get y and y cancel, so we get angle T equals to 180 minus y over 2. Now y is 180 minus 2x. We can substitute this value. So angle T equals to 180 minus, instead of y I am writing 180 minus 2x within brackets, 180 minus 2x dividing by 2, right? So that gives you angle T as equal to 180, 180 cancel, minus and minus becomes plus 2x, so we get 2x over 2, which is equal to x. So angle T is equal to x, correct? So in terms of x, it is equal to just x. So this is our angle x. Okay. So we got all this. Now, we're done with part A. Let's focus on part B, which is if QR equals to RS. Okay, so let's see what is QR and RS. So if QR is equal to RS, so QR is RS, well, then this becomes an isosceles triangle, and this angle Y will also be this angle Y. Well, so we know from here that Y is half of X, right? So now let's focus on this portion, which is if QR equals to RS, find X. Okay, great. So in that case, what we notice here is that angle X, so this is an isosceles triangle, both are Y now. So X is Y plus Y. So basically we get 2Y is equal to X. So that is first thing which we get. We know what y is in terms of x, we just found that y is 180 minus 2x, right? So we can find the angle, right? So we can replace this with 180 minus 2x in this equation. So we get 2 times 180 minus 2x is equal to x. 360 minus 4x equals to x. Taking it, we get 360 equals to 5x, or 360 divided by 5 is equal to x, and that gives you 7, 10, 72 degrees, right? So all these are in degrees, correct? So we get the value of x as 72, and so we also get the value of y, which is half of x, 36 degrees. So we get x and y both from our calculations, right? So we have this value as 36 degrees. This value is also 36 degrees. So in the triangle, what is this angle R? Let's figure this out. So I'm just writing angle R, which is equal to 180 minus 36 plus 36, which is 72, so which is 108 degrees. So we have this as 108 degrees, correct? Now since x is already found as 72, this is 72 degrees. Is that clear to you? So now we know almost all the angles which we are interested in. So now let's do, so we find the value of x, correct, which is 72, right? Let's highlight this also, x equals to 72. Okay. So we are highlighting x equals to 72 and y is 36. Clear. Let's move on to the next part of this question, which is prove that T Rsp is a parallelogram. Let's look into this part now. Now, we already know that these two sides are parallel, right? We have to prove these sides as parallel, right? We are looking into these sides. Now, what you notice here is that the angle T plus angle R is equal to 108 plus 72. So basically this angle is equal to 180 degrees, right? I wrote in a different order, but 180 degrees. Now that shows that these two sides, RS is parallel to TP. And therefore, we have shown that TRSP is a parallelogram. Is that clear to you? So that is shown since this angle is 180 degrees, right? So these are internal angles of two parallel sides. Now the next thing which we need to prove is PT equals to PQ equals to SR. Well, that can be shown. Now we know all these angles. We know this is 36. 180 minus y divided by 2 is what? 180 minus y is 36. So we get this angle here as 72. Right? So if you calculate 180 minus 36 divided by 2 is, let's do this. So we are calculating this angle. 180 minus 36 divided by 2, which is, when you take away, you get 4 here, and then from 7, if you take this 3, we get 4, right? So we get 144 divided by 2, which is 72 degrees, right? So this angle is 72 degrees. That angle is 72. This is 36. And since this is a linear pair, right? They form a linear pair. Therefore, we know that that angle should be equal to 180 minus 36 minus 72. Since it is equal to, there's no space to write here. So angle Q I'll write here in a different color. Okay, let's use this. So this angle TQP is equal to 180 degrees. Take away 72. Take away 36. So when you do this, 8 when you take away you get 2, and then you get this 10, you take away from 17, you get 7, right? So you get 72 degrees. So in this triangle, we see that these two angles are equal, and therefore these two sides should also be equal, right? So we have shown that PT equals to PQ, and we already given that PQ is equals to SR. Where is SR? SR, right? So these are So we get PT equals to PQ from here, and then we know that this is a parallelogram, right? So since T Rsp is a parallelogram, it is also equal to SR, right? So therefore, this side is also equal to this side, correct? Since it is a parallelogram. So it's a combination of isosceles triangle here and a parallelogram. That makes it same, right? So that is how we can actually prove part D, right? Well, there is some mess here since in a small space we tried to prove so many things. However, I hope the concept is clear. Let's go back to this. Now, we started with this angle here with the tangent makes with the chord. Using the alternate segment theorem, we found that this angle should be equal to that angle. We named that as y. And this y should be equal to this y because of alternate angles between the parallel lines and the transverse line. Sum of opposite angles of a cyclic quadrilateral is 180 degrees. That helped us relate x with y. And we found that y is equal to 180 minus 2x. And then we used the exterior angle with these two angles relating. We found that this angle should be x. So x and t, these two angles are same. When it was given that QR is equals to RS, that becomes an isosceles triangle. It helped us to find the angle y. So y is half of x, which came out to be 36, and x is 72. These two 36 made that as 108, sum of three angles. 108 and 72 is 180. That shows these two sides are parallel. These are already given as parallel. Therefore, the whole thing is a parallelogram, and these opposite sides should be equal in length. Later, we found that 72 and 72 are the angles in these triangles, making that as an isosceles triangle. So therefore, these two sides are also equal. So all the three sides are equal. So that is how we actually solved this question. I hope now all the steps are absolutely clear. Feel free to write your comments, share your views, and if you like and subscribe to my videos, that'd be great. Thanks for your time and all the best.